This year was an astronomical culmination of disasters that prolonged for eternity. Terrible things started stacking on top of one another like Lincoln Logs. But instead of focusing on that, I'd like to talk about some video games. More specifically, the ones I took a particular liking to during the year of 2020. For this list, I won't be mentioning any games that I've already reviewed. Also, most of the games are not ones that came out this year, so don't expect Animal Crossing or Doom to be hanging around here. So with all that garble out of the way, here's my top 10 games that I played in 2020. Fall Guys is a battle royale for people who like having fun. The game focuses on large groups of people clawing for the top spot, with silly platforming challenges and some funky physics. And the best part is that there is no voice chat. This game is so simple, just about anyone can pick it up. You are set into events randomly with stuff like races, jumping through hoops, and oversized soccer. The games can get pretty repetitive if you play for longer than an hour or two, and some of them just stink, like the fruit matching and the invisible path. But seeing a rat race of pill people attack each other will always be entertaining. Sword and Shield was sort of my last straw for believing Pokemon games could get any better, but a friend of mine approached me and was like, nah, you need to play this one. And it was pretty good. Double battles are now the main attraction instead of being a barely implemented feature. This adds a surprising amount of strategy and lets you mix and match moves, making for more engaging battles that require more than just spamming attack. Catching Pokemon is also different, with Shadow Pokemon that are unstable until you can heal them, and Pokestops that will spawn a single Pokemon at a time for you to catch. The game is pretty linear with a lack of routes, because this game is driven purely on battles and a plot that I could care less about. The amount of battles gets tiring towards the end, but it's still a worthwhile experience. Also, these animations, they add so much personality and bring these creatures to life with unique interpretations. Just comparing this to Sword and Shield is kind of a joke. A wise man once said, with great power comes great responsibility. And some might also say certain people shouldn't be trusted with so much power. I am one of those people. Just like the original, it takes the simplicity of making Mario levels, but adds more for you to fiddle with. You got on and off switches, air balls, icicles, new enemies, level goals, lava and water heights. All these things let your imagination run wild with cruel ways to ruin other people's day. But even with all that, there is a lot of annoying missteps. The HUD is disgustingly messy, with so many options clogging up your space. Items are now in preset wheels instead of letting you customize your own lineup of them. Don't get me wrong, it's still fun to make levels, but there are a lot of things you're just gonna have to tolerate. I'm also a little outraged that there isn't a stylus packaged with the game. No person should be forced to make levels with their finger, my god. Over the years, my genuine care for good storytelling in video games has gone from dwindling to non-existent. Usually the stories being told are either too bare bones or trying too hard to be deeper than it has any business being. Soul Reaver's story rides the line between being silly and pretentious, and I fucking loved it. You play as a vampire that has grown more powerful than his own master, and is killed out of jealousy and fear. He is revived an eternity later by some sort of overseer of death, to see a decaying world being overrun by his brethren, and is given the task of ending their reign. It's not a complicated story, but the dialogue is written in this Shakespearean tone with some of the finest voice acting I've heard in a game, making the plot more intriguing. Oh right, there's a game that comes with it as well. The best way I can describe the game is an interconnected Metroid Prime-esque world with the structure of a Zelda game. It has a mixture of combat encounters that require impaling your opponent instead of just hitting them until they fall over, and puzzles that mostly revolve around pushing blocks, which actually aren't all that terrible, but I think the boss encounters are the highlight here. They are reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus, where the fights are more about finding how to defeat them rather than just attacking them. And god, these are some horrifying bastards. Even for PS1 graphics, these things are beautifully horrid. Anyway, good game. I need to make an apology. Earlier this year, I made some unsavory comments towards a certain blue rodent that put him into a negative light. I take all responsibility for my actions from the depths of my cold, callous heart. I am truly sorry. Oh, not for Sonic 1, that game sucks silly string. But Sonic 2 is a non-stop festival of chaos and adrenaline. It takes every possible problem that original game had and punts it across the sidewalk. The levels are actually built for you to go fast in them now, but they still manage to implement challenge without any bullshit this time. A lot of the fun from the game comes from going through it multiple times and seeing how much faster you can get through it each time. One of the standout elements of these games is the visuals and music, which were pretty good in the original, but this takes it out of the ballpark, especially with the music. If this isn't the peak of fast-paced platforming, then send me straight into Davy Jones's locker. I know, I'm kinda cheating by putting two games here, but these are both great multiplayer games, so shut up and hear me out. First, we have Kirby's Dream Course. This game has the veneer of being a cutesy golf-esque game where Kirby is rolling around colorful worlds, but what hides behind the veil is a ruthless game about strategically taking points from your opponent in the most effective way possible. There is a learning curve with the overall mechanics and being able to determine how Kirby will move, but once you get past that, you'll be bouncing off walls, racking up multiple stars at a time, with you and your friends screaming at each other. The safe way to play this is you just take what stars you've gotten and head for the goal once it opens. But the real fun comes from this game of chicken between you two, where you see how many points you can get before ending the level. If you're looking for something with depth to play with that special person in your life, this game is great for ending friendships. But if you're looking to keep your friends around with something more casual, there's also Ultimate Chicken Horse. You start each game making this flimsy obstacle to the goal, and with each round the course slowly builds to be a chaotic mess of danger that you can just barely complete. The point is to get to the end with the least amount of survivors, because the game will not award any points if everyone makes it to the end. So the game devolves into a balancing act between making a functional level and making it barely possible. It gives you so many tools to kill your friends and lets you go wild with mixing and matching things together to make the most ruthless course ever. I think this will be the one that me and my friends will be cursing each other over for the years to come. As someone who loves Metroidvanias, I'd feel a tad embarrassed for just now getting around to playing the king of them all. It has breakneck progression that doesn't stop moving, with upgrades that contribute to the overall game so seamlessly. The map is not too overcrowded, with everything being condensed together into a neat world. Only one area in the game is outright dreadful. Meridia! Oh god, I think I got it. I think I have the virus. The rest is a blast to blaze through. I'm not gonna say much else since I got a video cooking that involves this game. So all I'll say for now is that it's a good game, and I probably should have played it sooner. It's a masterpiece. I'm saving my more complex thoughts on this game for a future video, so in the simplest of ways possible, I must say, Crash Bandicoot 4 deserves Game of the Year for 2020. It's a perfect blend of challenge from the original formula while spicing it up with new gameplay elements. The masks add so many fun twists to the levels without feeling distracting to the core game. This also applies to the other new mechanics and the multiple playable characters. Some of the hidden secrets can be bullshit, and certain levels are unforgivably hard. Either way, this game is too good to pass up, but if you plan on 100%ing this, Godspeed. I'm a bit under the pretentious belief that gameplay should come first when crafting a video game. There are very few games where I consider the value of the experience to be a game's best attribute. In 2014, I played a game with an unforgettable experience, and it was my favorite game of all time for years. So when I decided to revisit it, I was scared going in with my new mindset would ruin my enjoyment. Not only was I wrong, but it turned out to be better than I could have imagined, and nothing this year came close to the magic this game has. Every small crevice of Earthbound is filled with wacky encounters and oddly memorable adventures. I am not a fan of RPGs generally, but the combat is pretty tolerable. The scrolling health bar adds some tension to battles, and the experience given to you is fairly generous, so you never have to waste your time grinding. Anyway, the combat isn't why you play Earthbound. It's all the silly characters and scenarios that get you into these battles that make for a wild ride. It exaggerates the relatively mundane setting with weird events that are treated so casually by everyone everyone around you. Simply talking to NPCs is one of my favorite parts of this game out of the pure curiosity of what hilarious anecdotes they have. It all leads to a climactic ending where you confront the embodiment of evil itself, and everyone that has met up with you prays for your safety while facing your darkest hour. Through sheer will, you miraculously defeat the evil and somehow return to your bodies. Then everyone starts saying their goodbyes and heads back home. But since you and Paula live close to each other, she wants to walk home with you. You silently walk through the many towns and lands you've explored, letting you reminisce on your journey. It's hard to put into exact words why I love this game and why this ending has such an emotional impact for me. I think it's because it reminds me of my friends and all the stupid shenanigans we would go through at school together. I think it's the fact that those days had to come to an end, and all that's left is memories of those moments. I'm still friends with most of these people, but growing up has given us less time to be together. I love this game because it's a piece of media that captures the feeling to be a kid without a care for the restrictions of the adult world, sort of like a time capsule, and I can't wait to play through it again. Wow, that was a bucket of emotions I just dumped on all of you. On a more optimistic note, I want to thank everyone that has taken the time to watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. 135 subscribers is fucking nuts, and I'm glad that people are entertained enough by me to want to see more. So hopefully my frequency of uploads goes back to normal with all the holidays over. I want to try branching out to other ideas. I guess this top 10 list was sort of an experiment of that, but more stuff like talking about video game music or even movies. I don't know, I'll have to see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let's pray that 2021 isn't a total hell-ridden year. Okay, bye!